Um, my opponent says that my value flows to her criterion of self-government because of self-reliance. Self-reliance isn't necessarily self-government. Self-reliance is relying on oneself. And even though you can do that in a democracy, you can do it in plenty of other types of governments as well. And my opponent then flowed my criterion of nationalism by loyalty to democracy. Again, you can be loyal to your country without having it be a democracy. Um, my opponent went through my case and refuted all of it, but whenever she's attacking my cases and asking, well, if it worked in Africa, why can't it work in the Middle East? She's forgetting something very important. There are very many cultural differences between Africa and the Middle East. You can't just say, oh, because it worked here, it can work here. You're forgetting that these people, part of their religion is to have somebody who rules them, and it's almost like a dictatorship. They have a group of people who rules them. So why wouldn't and 59% of them in the poll said that they did not like the United States. They held very and somewhat unfavorable views of the United States. So, she says it would, in my second contention, she attacked and said I would say it would just be like the United States. The uprising is just like the United States. But she didn't allow me to finish in cross-examination and let me state that the United States undermined democracy because they helped the monarch by giving them 44 armed Humvees to suppress street protesters and send diplomats over there to help them quell the street protesters who stated very clearly that they wanted Shiite and Sunni democracy together. My opponent then attacked my third contention by stating, oh, well, the U.S. is failing. I stated that U.S. policy in the Middle East is a failure because they undermine democracy and because the Middle East doesn't want it. The policy for democracy is a failure. The Middle East wants democracy. They don't want the U.S. to promote it in their countries. The Oman Sultan himself stated, we want democracy. We don't want United States affiliated organizations to come and promote it in our countries for us. I will now go through and rebuild my case. My opponent's value flows to my case because self-government is basically what the Middle East wants. It just doesn't want the United States to promote it. My opponent's, that was her criteria. My opponent's value of individual liberties, again, they wanted them just like in Bahrain, but it's negated by the topic because the United States basically said, no, we're going to help the monarchs. You guys can't have democracy, and they quelled the rebellion. Again, for my first contention was stating that the Middle Eastern doesn't want the United States to sponsor it. I stated the statistic that 59% of them, and it was associated with the Brookings Institute and the Stanford Journal, they don't want us to promote it. So, they're saying, oh, what would it hurt to try? It hurts to try. It especially hurts us because the Middle Eastern doesn't want it. So it sours relations between us even more than they already are, and it creates a dislike towards us. And so my second contention was the United States undermining democracy, which brings up my opponent's entire argument.